January 6th, 2026. At Starbase, the final component for Starship version 3 infrastructure rolled into place. Not the rocket itself, something far more important. Within 30 minutes, the ship Quick Disconnect Extender was installed on Pad 2, completing the only launch facility on Earth capable of supporting Block 3 Starship. Flight 12 can now launch. The hardware is ready. But while everyone focused on that robotic arm, they missed what was happening just a few hundred meters away. Because the real story is not the launch pad. It is the gigabyte rising behind it. From rocket builder to rocket factory. SpaceX has crossed a threshold. They are no longer just building rockets. They are building the factory that mass produces them. Not 5 per year, not 20. At full scale, SpaceX is preparing to produce over 400 complete Starships per year from just 2 locations, more than 1 Starship every single day. And the infrastructure to do it is already 1/3 built. Why the Star Factory was not enough. Walk around Starbase today and you will see the Star Factory, an enormous building dominating the site. Ask anyone, and they will say it is operational. And technically, they are right. But until recently, SpaceX was still using it like the old tents they started with years ago. One prototype at a time. Build, test, learn, repeat. That approach works for experimentation. It does not work for mass production. And that is where most people misunderstand what mass production actually means. It is not about working faster. It is not about adding more robots. It is about designing the product to be mass-produced from day one. Why version 3 changes everything. Starship version 1 and version 2 were learning platforms. They were never designed for scale. Version 3 is different. Every component, every weld, every assembly sequence, all designed around manufacturing efficiency. Because you cannot take a prototype and suddenly churn out hundreds of copies. The production process has to be baked into the design itself. That is problem 1, now solved. Problem 2 is where the gigabyte comes in. The gigabyte, where scale becomes real. In mass production, there is a critical convergence point. All the pre-built segments, tanks, sections, and engines come together for final assembly. For Starship, that place is the gigabyte. Construction timeline: May 2025, Old Mid-Bay torn down. June 2025, foundation work begins. January 2026, structure clearly rising. Completion: end of 2026. When finished, the gigabyte will contain 2 parallel corridors, each with 12 workstations. That is 24 Starship assembly bays. These operating simultaneously, around the clock. Picture it. One bay installing Raptor engines. Another bay mating ship sections. Another bay completing final systems checks, all fed continuously by the Star Factory. And once this gigabyte is complete, a second one will be built directly behind it. That is 48 bays at Starbase alone. Florida joins the system. Texas is not the only site. At Kennedy Space Center on Roberts Road, another gigabyte is rising. Same design, same capacity, another 24 bays. Between Texas and Florida, SpaceX is building a parallel, redundant production system. At conservative speeds, we already have real data. Booster 19, the first version 3 booster, took about 1 month to assemble. Using that baseline, 72 bays, 1 month per vehicle. That is 864 stages per year, or 432 full Starship stacks annually. And that is before optimization. The 10,000 Starship question. On January 4th, 2026, Elon Musk said something that shocked people. At full scale, SpaceX could eventually produce 10,000 Starships per year. It sounded ridiculous, but run the numbers. 2 gigabays at Starbase alone could produce over 1,000 ships annually once optimized. To reach 10,000, SpaceX would need more factories, not new technology. Steel. Concrete. Timber. The real question is not whether it can be built. The real question is whether demand will ever justify that scale. While factories rise, launch sites are transforming just as fast. At Kennedy Space Center, SLC-37 has exploded into construction. Entire terrain reshaped. Massive cranes are now on site. Tank farms far larger than early plans. At Pad 39A, progress is even further. Ground systems bunkers completed. Commodities raceway connected. Tower dwarfing the Falcon 9 infrastructure beside it. Pad 39A is expected to support Starship launches by the end of 2026. SLC-37 will follow, with 2 Starship towers side by side. This eliminates single points of failure. Weather scrubbed? Launch elsewhere. Maintenance? Keep flying. Regulatory delays? Operations continue. Flight 12 is not just another test. Starship version 3 is a full redesign. New Super Heavy booster, Raptor 3 engines, new tank farm concepts, new pad systems. That ship quick disconnect installed in January? Nearly every component is new. Flight 12 tests the entire integrated system for the first time. That is why it is being compared to Flight 1. Not because it is the first flight, but because it is the first flight of a new architecture. And everything after depends on it. No refueling in orbit, no Artemis moon landings, no Mars missions. The real milestone. This is not about one rocket, it is about scale. SpaceX is not just building Starship anymore. They are building the machine that builds Starship. The factory is the mission. And when those gigabays go fully operational, and when Starships start rolling out daily, everything about access to space changes. Mars cities become realistic. Global space infrastructure becomes routine. Launch scarcity disappears. The mass production era of spaceflight is not coming. It is already being assembled, piece by piece, in Texas and Florida. And we are watching it happen. If you want to understand where spaceflight is really heading, not the hype, not the headlines, but the infrastructure that makes it possible, then you are in the right place. If this breakdown added value, hit like. It helps this kind of engineering-focused content reach the people who actually care about it. And subscribe if you want to follow how Starship, SpaceX, and the mass production era of spaceflight are unfolding step by step, in real time, before it becomes history. The factories are coming online. The launch systems are taking shape. And once this machine is fully running, access to space changes forever. Stay with us, because this is where the future is being built.